For a 4-star meal without much effort, try this Comté and asparagus risotto. Comté gets stirred into the risotto at the very end for an unbelievably creamy texture and nuanced flavor. The first thing I'm going to do is blanch the asparagus. Now I've already brought 4 cups of chicken broth and 2 cups of water to a boil. And to that, I'll slide in 1 pound of asparagus, which I've trimmed and cut into 1-inch pieces. Now asparagus is a great match with Comté, but you could use peas, leeks, mushrooms, butternut squash, whatever you have or whatever's in season. Now just cook the asparagus for about 1 to 3 minutes, just until it's crisp tender. Transfer the asparagus to an ice bath to stop the cooking. Once cool, move the asparagus onto a kitchen towel and pat dry. Now for the risotto. Melt 2 tablespoons of butter in a heavy bottom saucepan over medium heat. To this, I'm gonna add 1 large chopped shallot and 2 minced garlic cloves. Season this with some salt and some pepper, and you wanna cook this stirring just until the shallots are softened. Add 1½ cups of arborio rice and cook this stirring until the rice is lightly toasted. We're gonna add 3/4 cup of dry white wine. Now I'm gonna cook this stirring until the wine is mostly absorbed. It's time to add the broth, so we're gonna use the same broth that I used to blanch the asparagus. Start by adding a ladle or 2 of the broth. Just stir that in, and you wanna keep stirring until most of the broth is absorbed. Now you wanna keep doing this, adding a ladle full of broth at a time, stirring often until the rice is creamy and tender, but not mushy. Now the rice is perfectly tender, so I'm gonna move the pot off the heat and add 4 ounces of finely diced Comté. Now you can either use a younger Comté, which will have a milder flavor with aromas of yogurt, caramel, and fresh fruit, or you can use an older Comté, which will have more intense aromas of roasted nuts, spices, and dried fruit. Now just give this a stir until the Comté begins to melt. Now I could eat this just like this, but we're gonna add that asparagus that we cooked. So I'm gonna fold that in and just give it a stir. Now taste the risotto and season with salt and pepper as needed. To finish the risotto, I'm just gonna shave some more Comté right on top. The Comté will slowly melt into the risotto. This dish is proof that it only takes a few high-quality ingredients to make a 4-star dish. For this and more Comté cheese recipes, go to www.comte-usa.com.